Hello and welcome back to Elden Ring. Today we're going to have a look at Starscourge Radahn from a game design perspective. And here is Starscourge Radahn, sitting right next to me on his noble steed. But before we dive into his character design, I want to have a look at the ways we can actually encounter him, because it's not as straightforward as any regular boss in this game. You can't just walk in here and fight him. No, you have to trigger the Radahn festival. And you can do it in Castle Radahn. There are, and I'm referencing Wiki here, so if there are more ways of triggering this event, I have no idea. The wiki says there are 3 ways of triggering the Radahn festival, because usually when you get here, Radahn Castle is full of enemies, you can explore it fully, and then you have a boss fight at the Castle Plaza, Radahn Castle Plaza, you can talk to Jaren, and that's it. You can't get any further from here on out. So you need to trigger the festival first. And you can do this by accessing or by activating any Site of Grace at the Altus Plateau. And I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know if Sites of Grace in Lane Dell count. I don't know if Sites of Grace even in the mountaintops count, but I mean, it's more likely that you activate a Site of Grace in the Altus Plateau before you do it in the mountaintops of the Giants. So basically, if you're getting to the Altus Plateau, you can unlock the festival. The second way of unlocking it, the festival, is by talking to Blythe over here in the Ainsel River. I think he's standing over this rock formation here, and you can talk. You can progress his questline, or Ranni's questline if you want, and you can tell him about the Radahn festival, and then he says he will see you here, and the festival triggers. And the third way is by talking to E.G., who is over at this position over here. You can talk to E.G. about Jaren, who is the witch hunter, I guess, or the dude that is usually sitting around over at this point, and he's starting the Radahn festival. He's the host, basically. Or maybe Radahn is the host. So, why would you want to kill Radahn? First of all, the boss fight is awesome. Second of all, you progress Ranni's questline. Third of all, you will gain a great rune. And, well, you basically don't want to miss it. He's technically an optional boss fight. You don't need to fight him if you just want to finish the game or see the, what's it called, the credits, but you basically want to fight him. So, with that out of the way, let's go over to the character design, because, well, I think the first thing that we all notice is his size, because he is absolutely massive. Like, usually demigods or even the gods are like not that big, right? They're like 1.5 player characters big, right? Like, for example, Radahn, he's not that much bigger than the player character, like 1.5 characters, right? Then we have the Omen twins, who are even bigger, and you can argue that's because they're omens. Omens are usually a little bit bigger than the normal human. And then we have Radahn, who is like 3 or 4 times as big as the player character. That is ridiculous. I don't know how he grew that big. Maybe he ate a lot of vegetables or drank a lot of milk. I don't know. But he is absolutely massive. And he's not only a very strong combatant, he's also a very strong mage. And this is quite unique, because you usually don't see quote-unquote strength characters speccing into intelligence builds, right? So he's both. He's very strong and he's very smart. If you want to link intelligence to being smart. Because he mastered the art of gravity magic. And this is why he can ride his steed. Because usually if something that big rides on something that frail and small looking, then there needs to be some magic involved, and you can actually see it. You can see these purplish magical waves. I don't know how to describe it. It looks like the ground underneath him is very hot, right? The illusion or the bending of light you get when you look above a flame, or maybe on the road. If the road is very hot, you can see this flickering. And this is basically the same effect, just with black and purple smoke added to that. And he's holding himself up with gravity magic even in his state right now. And what do I mean by state right now? Because, well, he's here, right? But in what state is he currently? Well, he is... if we compare him to, for example, Morgoth talks to us. Morgoth is aware of us. He can form sentences. He's even very intelligent. Like, he... How do you say it? I don't know. He's normal, basically. He's like a normal human, right? But Radahn is like a beast right now. He's just a shadow of his former self, so to speak. Like, and this is because of his big fight versus Malenia. They fought over here at this battlefield. Maybe you can see some of Malenia's soldiers' weaponry here. Well, not really. Maybe there's some weapons of her soldiers, but I can't see them right now. Otherwise, but Malenia fought him over here. They had a big battle here, and the only way Malenia could have beaten him was the way, like, poisoning him with Scarlet Rot. And technically, I think they fought even in this area, right? This is where Malenia unleashed her Scarlet Aeonia, I guess, because this looks like the epicenter. Like, especially this area over here looks like the epicenter where the fight was ultimately lost by Radahn, or won by Malenia. Technically she won, but like it was very close. So, but both are still alive. Radahn is in his like sorry state he's in right now. Like, I guess the Scarlet Rot rotted away at his brain. I think in the introductory cutscene when you start the game, or when you create a new character, you could see her poking her Scarlet Rot into his neck area or shoulder area or back. I don't... it's very vague to me. I might be wrong there, but she poisoned him with Scarlet Rot, and the unit that he is, he's not dying directly, but he is now a like wild animal, basically. And if we have a look at him, at his armor, if we compare his armor to the armor I'm wearing right now, which is also his armor, but in a better shape, I guess, we can see fungi growing on him, or something similar. Especially here on his shins, I guess, and on his neck area. This fluffy, pelt-like looking thing there, and on his shins, this greenish, bluish, spotted looking thing. This is not appearing on the armor set I'm wearing right now, so it must be some growths, like fungi growths. Scarlet Rot has a lot to do with, like, or at least looks like a lot of fungi looking things, and I guess it's growing on him as well. And on top of that, well, he has a lot of, excuse me, there are a lot of weapons stuck in his back and his arms, like arrows in his arms, big spears and bolts in his back, and he's still standing. And keep in mind, this is the Radahn festival right now, so this is not the first one. What they're basically doing here is every, I don't know, every year maybe, every month, random time measuring unit, they hold this Radahn festival where soldiers like us, or people like us, can participate, and they all try and kill Radahn. And up to this point, no one got even close at beating him. Like, and they tried. You can see they tried. They tried a lot of times. You can see it by the spears and all the nasty stuff stuck in him. They tried, but they did not succeed. So unlucky, I guess. And of course, the player character has to kill him. So, but other interesting things. He is a mage, and this is why he can ride on. I think his horse is called Leonard. This is why he can ride on Leonard, and I don't know how Leonard is still standing. He looks absolutely miserable. His head is hanging down. I don't know if animals in this game can die, technically, due to the lack of the Rune of Death in the Elden Ring. I don't know if this affects animals as well. But it must have, right? What else is Leonard eating? He's not eating corpses like Radahn, is he? So he's very, very, in a very sorry state, but he's still standing. Same as Radahn. And of course, usually Leonard couldn't carry him, but this is where the gravity magic comes in clutch here. And because of his size, I think maybe due to the deterioration of Radahn's mind, he lost his feet as well. I don't think that he cut off his feet to be able to ride on Leonard even better. I think they just grinded off during the countless fights in this area. I think he just grinds his feet off because he's not fighting on foot. Like, he's constantly on his horse, which has a comedic effect. Let's say it like this. It has a comedic effect. So all the tragedy that is going on here, it's also somewhat funny. Even just a little bit. But well, do you want to talk about his armor? Because his armor looks absolutely fantastic. He has this gold-red theme going on here, and we can see it all around Caelid, where his soldiers are stationed in the different forts and outposts. The banner, I think, depicts a red lion. I might be wrong there, but I hope I'm not, because, well, where's the lion? Shouldn't there be a lion face somewhere? You have, of course, the helmet, which depicts a lion with his mane. Then you have these two tusks. You have these lions on the shoulders. Like, it looks very all over the top. I guess the armor would work in real life. Maybe not the best armor design, but it looks absolutely amazing in my opinion. Like, I really like the armor design, even though it might not be the most practical one, because I think the thing where I think I can show it better here, right? You have two different plates, one big plate with a lot of ornaments on there. Then you have the smaller plate. Luckily it's detached from another, at least it looks like detached, so you can actually bend over a little bit better. And then we have a different segment here. I guess the armor could work. But usually at this point here, where the waist is, or maybe a little bit above the waist. You want to have it fairly tight, you want to have a belt there, so it's easier to wear the armor. Like you want to... so the upper weight of the armor is being carried by part of your core, I guess, and not only your shoulders, so it's not as heavy. But oh well, I'm not as good as at describing armor sets and character design, so... but I want to talk about the design of this boss fight at all, because... all around, because the boss fight itself is not a usual 1v1 boss fight. You're of course not the only one attending this festival of Radahn, and the way they solve this problem is very, very interesting, because usually when you have a gimmick boss fight like this one, this is a gimmick boss fight. You have a gimmick here. It's not a usual boss fight, but it's a very good gimmick. What do I mean by that? Of course, there are multiple people attending this event, so they solved this by having a lot of summon signs here of the different people attending this event. Here we have Okina, then we have the, what's his name? Targoth, and Lionheart, no, Lionel, excuse me, and many more. And I think Limit Breakers made a very good video about the summoning mechanic and how often you can summon characters here and when you can summon them, because there are some characters, I think Jaren, you can only summon in the second phase or something like this, and it's difficult. But of course you need to balance something like this, right? You can summon a lot of NPCs here, so he needs to be a little bit stronger than the usual boss, right? And yes, he is. You can compare him a little bit to Dark Souls 3's Yorm the Giant boss fight, where he has a lot of more HP. And Yorm had like a ridiculous amount of HP, so you can technically beat him with normal weaponry, but it would take hours. So they gave him in New Game 9,572 HP, and this is the wiki telling me that it's whatever. Like, he has 9,500 HP, but is that much HP? Let's compare it to Renala, who has a gimmick boss fight as well, and Renala has combined, like phase 1 and phase 2 combined, something like 7,600 HP, so he's a little bit more beefier, like 2,000 HP more. But, well, you could argue Renala has a lot of HP because phase 1 is a pushover and phase 2 she only has 4,000, so let's compare 4,000 HP for phase 2, because phase 1 in the Renala boss fight isn't really a challenge. 4,000 HP, compare that to Radahn's 9,500 HP. That's more than double, so you can technically beat him without any NPCs, but the fight is designed for you to summon help here. So there's another reason why we start out here, right? Of course, we can summon our first batch of NPCs here, but Radahn is standing on that hill over there. And that's because he has two different kinds of weapons. He has ranged weapons and he has melee weapons, and unless you're getting close to him, he will bombard you with his bow, his giant bow. And you need to be careful, because when you spawn here, he immediately aggroes to you and he's trying to shoot you. So you can dodge these arrows if you're timing it correctly, or you can hide behind these weapons over here. But keep in mind, once he hits them, they're gone. I can't destroy them, but he can. So it's a one-use cover, basically. So I think let's start the boss fight, shall we? Now the boss music starts, he pulls out his bow and he bombards us with his gravity-infused arrows. And here you could see one-time cover. And he has different movesets. You can also ride on Torrent here. I mean, this is only fair, right? He can ride on Leonard. No, Lionel is the dude we can summon here, and Leonard is the horse of Radahn. You can ride on Torrent, and he has different movesets. He can shoot you with a big arrow, he can shoot you with multiple arrows, and he has this hail of arrows. And I don't know how this works, but the arrows are following you. Let's do that again. Come on, Radahn. Shoot the arrows in the sky. Thank you. They start at his location and then they're following you. And I don't know how this works. Gravity magic, I guess. He's using his gravity magic to influence the path of his arrows. And let's make it a little bit... Let's turn off the sound effects for now so I can talk. And maybe make the boss music a little bit more silent as well. Where is it? There. I think that's good enough. The music is epic as well. But I want to talk about his bow. Or especially his arrows, because... Can you please shoot them in the air again? And he's getting closer, isn't he? Didn't he start off at the hill? He might get closer with every shot. But here, I want to have a look at these arrows, because they have no feathers at the end. These are basically spears. He's shooting with spears. And of course he can get away with this, because his arrows are controlled by gravity magic, so you don't need a functional arrow for that, you just need a heavy spear basically, and he can manipulate the flight path of these arrows as he chooses. Now he's shooting at the dune over here, but maybe we can see it, the tracking capabilities of his arrows. It's hard to see, but I think they're slightly curved, and I guess I got too close. And this is amazing. I want to talk about his moveset, but... about his melee moveset, because that's very unique. I guess the music can stay a bit silent, because I want you to look at his horse with some of his moves. Look at the horse. Now he's stomping Leonard into the ground. And he is actually fighting on sometimes on foot when he's stomping Leonard in the ground. But the strange thing is he's of course moving during that attack. Let's see if I can trigger it again. Come on. Put Leonard in the ground again, please. Yeah. Okay. Mark the location. He now moved forward a lot of times, and now Leonard is on his foot again. And I guess he controls Leonard with gravity magic as well. Otherwise, how is the horse burrowing underneath? Like, how does the horse get back underneath his feet or underneath his ass, basically? This is so funny. But yeah, in phase 1, nothing really special, and I think I don't even know if when I summon NPCs now, if they work. But where can I summon them? There are the summon signs. I dragged Radahn out here a lot. So let's summon some NPCs, because they're quite weak. And it depends on the Radahn attacks, if the summons are working, or if they're just dying directly. I hope they're not immortal now. But they have some funny moves as well, especially the one with the goat armor, Targov, or whatever his name is. Yeah, they can die good. Come on, trigger a second phase, please. He has a lot of spinning moves, Radahn, like... Come on. Kill the NPC. The good thing is, when you have the summons up, you can... Stop hitting Torrent. You can have a look at his moveset a little bit easier, because he's not right in your face, because right now I can't really see that much. Maybe I need to take off the helmet. I think that's it. But I want to know how he's actually controlling magic in this game, right? How is he controlling the gravity magic? Because usually mages need some sort of staff with glintstone, right? But I have two theories about that. Of course, his two swords and his bow are... I think I have to talk... I want to talk about this after he's dead, because it's getting quite annoying. Let's trigger a second phase for now. And I need to be careful, I don't know how much damage I deal. And by the way, you can apply every status effect to him, except Madness. You can actually do the same move with his swords. Well, not this one. But we have a look at his magic later on. What kind of magic he might be using. Because some of them you can't use, but others you can actually use. And I guess he has 3 phases now. I think this is the second phase where he starts using his gravity-infused attacks. Yeah, this attack we can use, just in a different form. That's a spell that we can use. I think it pulls you towards him, if I'm remembering this correctly. Then he has this shockwave out of gravity magic. And his weapons have stones on them. This is basically the Ash of War that is called... where is it? Come on, where is it? It's called Crackblade, but I'm not finding it right now. Should be at the strength ones, right? There. Crackblade. Which basically just makes it so that your weapon has more physical damage. Come on, I want to trigger the second phase without killing... the third phase without killing him. Yeah, that's it. He just fucks off, the music stops, and you hear the flame and you see the comet coming down on you with a big explosion. And Radahn is awesome. I think this is the most unique boss. Now his full moveset is unleashed. He launches himself up in the air a lot of times. And if you have a look at the sky now, the sky is now blue. I don't know if this is usually the case, but it was red before. And now his full moveset is unleashed. He has these menacing rocks floating around him, and you don't really know when they're coming down to get you. So it's a guessing game. You're supposed to get nervous with this one. Because you want to know, when is he unleashing these rocks? Because they have to do something, right? Now he is. With his charge attack. Charging into the jump. And yeah, he's stomping Leonard into the ground again. He's doing his spinning attacks. This kind of reminds me of, I think it's called Slice and Dice, if you've played League of Legends from, what's the crocodile called? The crocodile from League of Legends, where you can dash twice while spinning around like this. Renekton, that's what he's called. But that's nice, even in his state right now, even in his raging wild beast state, he's protecting his horse. Because if he's doing these, maybe I can trigger again his AoE attack from his weapon. Like the Ash of War from his weapon itself. Where he first pulls you towards him. Like this one. Shouldn't you protect Leonard here? Well, he technically is. He's standing in front of Leonard there, but I thought he would push him down into the ground. I think he only really pushes Leonard down with one specific attack, because here he just lifts Leonard up with him. And I'm sorry if the horse's name isn't Leonard, but now it is, at least. Yeah, this attack, Slice and Dice again. And I think it's supposed to catch you off guard. Because with his first spinning move, he's first going a little bit to the left so that you mistime your roll, I think. Let's see if we can trigger it again. And let's see if he pulls out the rocks again, yeah. Now he's taking out the rocks. And I think for him to unleash the rocks, he needs to do a specific attack. Ooh. And yeah, this pulls you in so hard. This is the pull. Now Leonard is in the ground. Wave. And yeah, you can kill Torrent in this state. Unlucky. I wasn't sure if... yeah, this unleashes the rocks. His jump attack, okay. This is nice to remember, because I could never remember his moveset. Like, this is the first time I'm taking my time now to actually observe his moveset. And now he's going to the left a little bit, so you mistime your roll. And now he isn't really. So you need to be careful with that specific move where he jumps in the air. But okay, I think we have seen every single move from Radahn. He's still taking care of his horse, Leonard. Even if it's in its deranged state of mind. But now, let's get rid of him. By hitting poor Leonard. Demigod felled. Very nice. Usually there's a cutscene triggering now. I don't know if it's the case. What? So, yes, sure. I wanna get my steed bag. I don't know if this is bugged now or not. Well, it's bugged right now, but I've never seen this area with a blue sky, so this is unique. But now we can have a talk. We can talk about his moves, because his move with the swords we can actually do ourselves if we get access to his swords. And I think I skipped them again. There should be at the, I think, ultra great sword somewhere. Not the curved ones. There. Yeah, ultra great sword. And his bow. We need to have a look at his weaponry in order to understand why he might be able to cast magic, because you can see these golden runes, I guess, on his sword. And this is the exact same attack he did, where he pulls us in first and then slams his two swords down on the ground. And I think if we have a look at the staff that usually controls gravity magic, which is the meteorite staff, there is still a glintstone on it. So mages need glintstones to cast, and apparently either these swords are reinforced by glintstone, maybe there's some glintstone in the weapons and in the bow itself, could be smithed in there, we can't really see it, or these runes are here to manipulate gravity magic in particular, because he's only using gravity magic, right? He's doing his weapon attack, he's doing his reinforced by magic arrows that we can actually shoot. Sadly, we can't control the gravity magic here. They're still infused, but sadly they're not tracking the target. We can do his rain in a weaker version, I guess, because ours is not tracking the target either. And he has, I think, the only spell that we can use that he uses is either, yeah, I think it should be Collapsing Stars, and technically he uses Rock Sling, just in a stronger version. With Collapsing Stars, he is slamming his swords into the ground, and then a lot of these black looking stars will appear that will home in onto you, and then I think they will pull you in as well. Would only make sense if they could pull you in. Then he's using on his sword the Ash of War Crackblade, which I can, because there's a Side of Grace here, which I can equip onto some sort of weapon right now to show you. Let's just choose this sword. Heavy infusion. Where's the long sword? There we go. Crackblade, the following one, where you basically just slam it into the ground and pull it up with stones on there. Usually this wouldn't really make your weapon stronger. Just by putting weight to your weapon, I guess you could increase the blunt damage with your weapon, but not really the cutting capability. You're basically destroying your weapon with that, but, well, it's making more. It's a game mechanic, it needs to make more damage, right? So, what else is he using? He might also be able, or he has, I think, a different form of Wave of Destruction, I think? Yeah, what it's called. Where he slams his weapon into the ground and then usually a shockwave out of this purple-looking electricity will occur, but I think Wave of Destruction is the most similar looking thing that we can achieve to his moveset. Of course, sadly, we can't do the slice and dice where we jump, or where Radahn jumps into the ground and then spins at the target 2 times. I really wish we could do this attack with the Radahn Greatsword, with the Starscourge Greatsword, but sadly that's not the case. But overall, Radahn is I would say a fun boss fight. He is half of his game design, half of his whole design is like tragedy, because he's this big war general that, due to the fight versus Melania, got basically mad due to the Scarlet Rot running through his veins now. Keep in mind, they're not killing him. Like, he is still standing very strong, but, well, his mind deteriorated into nothingness. Into that of a beast, basically. And we are basically helping him. We are laying him to rest. So we are actually honoring his legacy, basically, by killing him. A true warrior's death, I think they would say in this game. So I guess that's nice. Of course, he still can use all his gravity magic, and the one where just, like, Meteor strikes you with himself is also very awesome. And it's also comedic. There's also a comedic aspect to his whole fight, or his whole design. First of all, he's riding on a very, very tiny horse as this big dude. The lore around that is just funny. Like, he wants to be like these soldiers, like the knights riding on horses. And I guess that's the biggest honor as a knight, but due to his size, there's no such steed that is as big as him, like that could possibly carry him. So he learned gravity magic to lift himself up and to aid him in battle, of course, so he can actually finally ride on his steed, which is quite the funny story. But amazing story, like, gravity magic exists in this universe, and it only makes sense, really, right? He's lifting himself up to be able to ride on his horse, which is such a sweet story. And then during his fight, the way he uses, or the way he fights with Leonard together, like where Leonard like makes circles around the target and Radahn is just grinding his swords like a running blade, like the blades on the side of a chariot maybe, to kill his opponents. The fighting style overall is very cool looking. And the way he protects Leonard during certain attacks where he slams down is also very sweet. I don't know how Leonard survives in the ground. Should be very painful, but I guess he's pushing the sand away, right? With his gravity magic. I can only imagine. And then he drags Leonard underneath him. And it's comedic. It's a funny story overall. Surrounded by tragedy, but well, that's how Elden Ring works. That's how Dark Souls works. And it's nice that they could implement some funny aspects into the overall very tragic story of this demigod. But let me know what you think about Starscourge Radahn's fight. Let me know if you like it. If you liked it more before the nerf and then the buff or whatever they did to his boss fight overall. Because apparently at the start of the game, like before the first big patch, he was very strong, then they nerfed him and later on they buffed him again, I guess. I'm not really sure, but oh well. Who really cares about balancing? His fight is awesome and it always will be awesome. And the amazing thing is that they actually found a good balance between gimmick boss fight and an actual boss fight, because I think a lot of people would have been angry with FromSoft if he would be like if he's like a very gimmicky boss fight like Yhorm the Giant from Dark Souls 3, because Yhorm you can basically realistically only beat with the Storm Ruler, right? But here they made it so that it's fighting him alone is quite difficult, but you have the choice of using the gimmick by summoning a lot of help, right? So I think they found the correct niche for the design of a gimmick that makes sense in the world. You need this gimmick because otherwise you could say, why am I the only one fighting him? If we see Alexander, if we see Blythe, if we see all the other people at the Festival of Radahn, but Why are they not fighting with us? And it's, I think, a very good option to be able to summon them, because usually how they could have done it, like they could have just planted these NPCs in this boss arena, and when you first enter the boss arena they will charge them. Like, some people don't want that. Some people want to fight this boss by their own, like without any help, and then this ability, fighting him alone, would have been taken from them if they would spawn the NPCs from the get-go in the arena, right? And I think it's a very good design they've done here, a very good gimmick design with that, that you can actually summon them. So props to FromSoft for that, and not repeating a Yorm the Giant boss fight over again. But let me know what you think about this boss fight. Let me know what you think about the gimmick, actually, that is going on here. Do you like the gimmick? Would you do it differently? Maybe you have a different or arguably a better idea how they could have done this gimmick with multiple people fighting this boss without impeding the player who wants to beat him alone. Let me know. Write it down into the comments, and I think that's it from me. Goodbye.